Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of You Oughta Know, where I introduce you to bands that you should definitely have on your radar. Today's guest is Halfway To Adonis, or as I like to call him, Brad. How you doing, dude?
What's up? I am doing great, man. It is awesome to be here and awesome to see your face.
Awesome. So, Brad, like you and I, we go ways back, but for the uninitiated, let's talk a little bit about about what Halfway To Adonis, because this is kind of like a hybrid interview. I feel like I'm interviewing like 5 different bands at the same time right now. Like Brad wears many hats to cover that beautiful head of his.
The dome.
So yes, so let's start with Halfway To Adonis. Like, go ahead and tell us how did that happen? Like where did you come up with the name? What was the idea behind Halfway To Adonis?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, let me turn around and get comfy. I wanted to show off my lights and my sweet studio setup and this mic that you recommended to me, but let me just spin around. Hopefully, no one gets too dizzy. The PD70, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Badass. Let me just get set up here so I can relax a little bit and talk. And before anyone makes fun of me, after I took the carpet out, I put stuff all over the walls, and everyone says, "Oh, that doesn't work." Well, it does actually keep the reflections down a little bit when several people are jamming. So anyway, thanks again for having me here, dude. Where did Halfway To Adonis come from? The name, first of all, I think personally it's super cool. It actually started as a joke. And like most things that I enjoy most in life, there's a lot, or at least a little bit of humor in there. And this is one of them. So my wife years ago made a funny comment to me. So I went on a paleo and dropped some weight, like significant amount of weight. So I wasn't like ripped, but I was looking better than I had in years. And let me just adjust that a little bit. My wife one day said, I was laying there like, kind of halfway buff, leaning back in the bed and no shirt on. And she's like, "Dude, you look kind of like the statue Adonis. Like you're more than halfway to Adonis at this point." And I was like, "Shit, babe, I'm going to use that one day. That's going to come up one day." And so here we are, golly, it's probably 8 years ago. Sure. Yeah, there you go. I put most of that weight back on, but I'm on a different diet now, so I'll shred it back off soon. And I'll be halfway to Adonis again soon.
That's friggin' awesome, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man. She thought
I did not know that. I did not know that. I don't think probably one of the coolest like band name stories ever.
Yeah, and it was all her. Yeah. So I don't think many people know that at all. I may have never shared that outside of like 2 other people. So musically, where does it come from? So for like years and years back in Florida, I'm in Texas now, but in the Florida metal community, I was in a band called Ring of Scars. I was guitarist for a long time, one of the founding members. Due to some bullshittery, a lot of it on my part, a lot of it on other people's parts, we moved some people around and booted some people out. I think that band went through like 28 members officially over a 10-year time span. Really ridiculous. And again,
I wasn't in it.
No, you weren't. But I'll take the blame for most of that. Very headstrong dude and not always the easiest to work with. But anyway, I moved into fronting the band for a long time. And then at a certain point, I realized like this is just too much like work, and I didn't enjoy like every song we were writing, especially at the end. It just was like a flavor of music that wasn't really like my passion project. And so like subconsciously, I think I was building up this. Well, what is my passion project? What does it sound like? While since about 2009, really trying to become more of a studio engineer and producer, and essentially like, get the sound that I heard in my head or like get close to it. And it took a long time. It took me longer than most people. It took me probably 8 or 10 years to where I was like, okay, this is really right in that ballpark of what I'm looking for. And so I think like all of that kind of added to what it is. And what does it sound like? Ultimately, I think it probably sounds like, metal that you could dance to, like maybe a collection of music a little meaner than like your radio, metal stuff like Disturbed and Rob Zombie, but it's
Rob
not
Zombie's
that
a good
either.
comparison.
Yeah, I would say a lot of it is on par with Rob Zombie, with maybe like slightly meaner vocals on some of it, not all of it. But yeah, that's kind of where it is. And one day I just felt like, I love collaborating. I love being in bands, like you mentioned. I'm in like 5 or 6 different bands or projects right now. But I was like, okay, I learned how to program drums well enough. I learned how to produce well enough. I can get the sound I want, or within 10% either way. And I was like, well, fuck it. I have 8, 9 guitars on the wall. I have all the equipment I need. I have the know-how, and I can just put it all online and not deal with other people. So around like 2013, I decided Ring of Scars is no more. I wasn't really enjoying it. I told all the guys in that group, like, hey, if we want to like move your equipment out of my house and rehearse elsewhere, and please do that now, like tonight. And I asked them to come to my house and get it. And then, if we want to like practice and rehearse somewhere else.
But you kept the bus.
Yeah, I did. I did have a bus for a very short period of time. Like we can, I'll be in a band with you guys. I don't want to call it Ring of Scars, because that's a thing that I hold near and dear. We can call it whatever, and I'll still be in the band. I'll still do like some recording and some digital media. I did a lot of the web design and stuff back then. I did all of the booking, and I kind of said, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to manage this. I'll just do like a lot of the parts that I enjoy, and you guys can do the rest of it. And that morphed into Malthus, and then we found some problems and had to rename, which you were definitely involved in, and that has now become Alpheus, which you are involved in. I think you've played at least 50%, if not 100% of our live shows.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, and so the core that was there for the last handful of years of Ring of Scars is now Alpheus, but it's not like my passion project. It's someone else's, and I just kind of do what they tell me. They coach me to get my vocals how they want, and all the other stuff kind of went into my own project, Halfway to Adonis. And then when I want other folks involved, like you've helped out on some guitar stuff, I reach out and say, hey, do you want to get involved in this? And that's kind of what it is. My own selfish little, hey, here's what I want to record this month kind of thing.
Cool. No, it's pretty cool. Like I remember, like I think like my first interaction with you was meeting you from like being friends with Jason, and like that was, I think, before Jason joined Ring of Scars for like that very short period of time.
Over some ribs, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that
ribs
is correct.
And cupcakes, I believe.
Yes. Yep. Damn, that was a good menu. Fuck.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the show and just being blown away. It's like, holy shit, damn, this guy can sing. And
thanks. I don't think anyone else felt that way, but I appreciate it.
No, dude, no, you can wail. Okay, stop being humble.
Thanks, bro.
And like just going through the motions, and like when I was in the little part of Alpheus that I was in, like I don't think that you were in already. And it's like it just never was the time that you and I could actually be like in this, like at the same time. And even now when we're working, we're still not in the same room at the same time, because you're in Dallas and I'm in Virginia and I'm about to be in Florida. But it's like the whole time I was like, you know what, I want to collaborate with this dude. And then because I always thought that you were going to be doing this type of music, like just this something specific. And then I hear One Bad Dude. And it's like, oh, okay, range. That's pretty cool. And then I hear all the other stuff that you put out, Vacant, and then all the other projects start popping out. So Project 54, Bringer of Light. Like what else? What am I missing? Like let's line them up. So Halfway to Adonis is it's like your main like, and then what else do we have?
Yeah, so when I think of Halfway to Adonis,
that's Spondai.
Spondai. We'll get to that in a minute. That's a good one. That's the one on my mind at the moment. So Halfway to Adonis for me, I think of like that's like my home base. I write and record, and sometimes even do vocals and write the lyrics for those. Total transparency, what I found over the years is a lot of times if I'm the one writing the guitar parts, it's like 50-50. Sometimes I can't come up with anything good vocally. Or even lyrically, like it's like all of my mental energy and my heart went into writing that, in my mind, like that badass riff, and like, can I come up with anything? I may not. So that's a lot of the collaboration for me, is like, let me get a friend involved and see what they can come up with. But I kind of, like you said, that's my baby. That's what I consider home base, even if I pull someone else in. But I'll tell you, I have probably an album, maybe an album and a half worth of material that has like 50% of the vocals done, or 10%, or like none, or I did some and I'm like, this sucks, I got to get rid of it. There's a lot of stuff out there that I just, either I have to figure out, like, am I going to part with this on a lyrical level and have someone else involved? Probably. Or am I going to hold on to it and be selfish for another 4 or 5 years? There's stuff from 2016, 2017, like ready and waiting to go. And I just got to figure out who to get involved with that. Might be reaching out to you soon, FYI. From there, Alphaeus is probably the next in line. So Alphaeus, as you mentioned, like that's a group of us. You're involved. There's a couple other guys that are like permanent members. We have a couple of guys that are more like less creative input and more of live members. I think I might be one of those at this point. Sometimes I have creative input. Sometimes it's just like, here's a lyrical idea and like basically where we want to go vocally. Funny story, when that started, I was very much into metalcore, which I still love. And the guys were like, hey man, we want you to record our band. It's all instrumental. Great. We did some of that. And then about halfway through, they were like, hey, can you sound like Chuck from Death on this track? Cause like we have some words for it. I was like, I don't know, let me try. And I did it. And they were like, oh fuck.
No pressure. Chuck,
yeah.
No pressure.
Can you sound like kind of like that, but a little bit more like Obituary on this track? I don't know, let me try it. And it turned out they were like, dude, this is fucking great. Can you just record on all of them? Like we can write lyrics, you can write lyrics. So Alphaeus is at times also kind of my baby, even though it's not mine. It's something that I really get invested in. And also when we think about like, commercial value, like I think most everyone that is like a true full-time creative input member would say this is like your very like sludgy, slimy Florida death metal music. Yeah. Which I agree with. And before I got involved with the project, I hated that kind of music. I was like, I don't like this at all. But since I've got involved, I've got a lot more of an appreciation for it, and I've grown in that area, and I've really tried to push myself and get better. And I let the guys, mostly Jason and somewhat Eldon, kind of coach me on what they want me to sound like, which is, before that project, something I had never done. But if you think about commercial appeal, that one probably so far has had the most live appeal. We've I think I've flown back to Florida twice for kind of high stakes shows. One of them, opening for Terrorizer, which is,
that was a bad.
That was like, well, shit. When that came across the place, I was like, I'll be home. Don't worry, I'll fly home. And that show was 2 miles from my home in Florida. So we have Halfway to Adonis, Alphaeus, before all of that, Ring of Stars, which you can still find on all the music platforms. We have I have another project at the complete other end of the spectrum, reggae. I love Americanized reggae. It's called The Wrong Way. I'll be honest, I don't know if that's on all platforms right now. I don't know if I've actually released anything through like Spotify, but I'm pretty sure there's some on YouTube. There's a bunch on Facebook. So if anyone wants to look that up, like I'm standing in a canoe playing an acoustic guitar. The canoe is on land. It's not in the water. And there's a girl with like pink hair and a white dress that does most of the vocals. And I think very soon I'll get to that. That basically I write or record covers. I do all the instruments, and then either I'll do vocals or I'll do backing, and I'll have a female vocalist usually do the primary vocal. And we do like mashups, like a Nirvana versus Real McCoy dance versus alternative, like all kinds of stuff there. So I'll get more of that online soon. That's called The Wrong Way, or The Wrong Way Band, depending on what platform. And I'm pretty sure there's more metal out there, but we'll talk about Spawn Die for a moment, because I think at the moment we're both totally in love with this shit. So Spawn Die really is your baby. So yes. We have a group of dudes who are in all these bands together. We have like a Facebook chat of 6 or 8 dudes that have all been in or are involved with Indian River Music Company, which, basically was who all is in Malthus or Alphaeus, or has recorded parts or had some input. And they were like, well, shit, this is the same group of guys that is really working towards building up Indian River Music Company, which is fucking awesome. Jason Banning's label / music company / studio. I don't think I'm spilling the beans too much, but I think I'm like the Texas extension of that. If we want to do some recording it here in my studio, I think this is T-Bolt Studios is an extension of that. And, I think most of us are really loving the label aspect of it, which these days looks totally different than a label 10, 15, 20 years ago. But then there was like this, as you're aware, but the audience is that there was this group of us, maybe 6 of 8 of the guys, I think probably, or 5 of the 8 that are really into gaming or like to game together, and we all meet up virtually a couple times a week or at least once a week to have drinks and play, whatever game we're playing at that moment. Usually Call of Duty. And then we all started getting drunk, and we suck at these games, even though we'd like to think we don't. So,
but we suck when we're sober too. Let's just make that distinction.
Fair, 100% fair. Speaking of, when we talk about alcohol, I'm gonna have to drop a few plugs here in a moment. But
I got water. Sorry, I mean school day.
Weak sauce is what they call it. It's weak sauce.
Yeah.
So anyway, the group of guys, the subgroup of the Alphaeus or Indian River Music Company, said, hey, let's just make another chat without a couple of these guys, and we'll call it our gaming gossip or whatever, some stupid name. Eventually, though, we all started saying, like, hey, wouldn't these lyrics fit good in the song? This gun sucks! This gun sucks! And we're like, yeah, it would. And then there's another one about each of us, like, getting shot while trying to run a mission. And, like, hey, wait a minute. This actually could be a real thing. Like, we're all musicians. We can all, like, this is during COVID times. Like, we can just record this shit and see what it sounds like. And my understanding is that you got super, like, pumped by this and like, yeah, let me write some thrash and hardcore songs. And
dude, it was like, to me, it felt like it was going to be just a joke, an inside joke, and
which
then,
it is still.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, dude, like let's do it. It's like, well, fuck, okay. Give me a week. Give me a week.
Yeah,
I have the riffs. I just got to put them together. It's like, I've had these riffs for a while. I just got to put them together. It's like, you should have seen, like, Rage Quit. I'm literally in the Publix in Fredericksburg, which is like 50 miles from here, because we drive 50 miles to go to Publix. That's
wow.
how you know. That's how you know Florida.
The subs are worth it, though. The subs are worth
it. Florida's right here, you know.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the idea gets in my head, and I was like, crap. So I got my phone and I'm writing, and my wife's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm writing a song. And I'm walking around like Publix, like, fucking quit. People probably looking at me like I'm crazy, and she's in line like waiting for the subs, and I'm like tapping the counter and like, fucking quit. Fucking quit this fucking game. And it's like, shit. And I think that was the last song that I ended up writing, like, for everything. But it was one of those things that, like, the crazy part about that when it comes to you is that every single song I came in is like, all right, Brad, okay, this one, we need some As I Lay Dying. You got it? I got it. All right, this one, we need some Chuck Billy. And you're like, fuck.
That was my favorite, by the way. I didn't think I'd be able to pull that off, but we got close.
I know, and you nailed it.
We got the feel.
Okay. And it's like this one, we're going a little bit more goat horror, more like like all of them. It's like I said, okay, I'm gonna pull 4 different, completely different singing styles of, like, hardcore, thrash, metal and whatnot, and no pressure. Can you just do this in 3 weeks? Okay. So to me that was fantastic, man, and it was just it was such a cool experience, and that's just another hat that Brad, Halfway To Adonis, etc., wears. So we got that one, and Bringer of Light. That's I think that's the latest one, right?
It is, yeah. Well, let me back up for a minute. So Subproject 54 is with Tony Streetman, and
Mr.
so
Tony Streetman.
He loves doing covers, and he's kind of done the same thing. Like, he sent me a few, like, hey, have you heard of this song? Do you want to do a cover? And I'm like, I've never heard that song ever, but let me give it a shot. What do you want it to sound like? And so I found, like, I started as a guitarist years ago, and I still love playing guitar, but I found that, like, I love the challenge when people are like, hey, can you emulate this? Can you get close? And I'm like, let me try. And most of the time I've been able to get close. I love it, man. Like, the achievement that comes with that and the high fives, it's great. And I like the challenge. So it's cool. I will also say that in addition to that stuff, probably should be careful how I phrase this. So, like, I also have a super secret undercover alter ego that doesn't show my face online, and I do some covers that, like, I work in corporate America, so I got to be careful. Most of them are like, hey, you can't do anything outside of these bounds, outside of work, or that doesn't fit our company values. So I've been fortunate enough to also be involved with some of the same people and some other people, and do like, hey, can you sound like this? Can you sound like that? But the lyrics are like, they're a little outside of what we would consider like corporate America friendly. And I've even found a way to do that, and I love it, man. It's so much fun, So let me just say, for the record, for any of those out there, I won't confirm like the identity, but like, a lot of times when people are singing about like Satanism or like super heavy drugs or whatever, it's not always that they're out there, doing those things recreationally. It's just that, like, those are lyrics. Maybe they're taking it to the bank. Maybe they are doing those things. In my case, it's like an actor. Like, I'm reading lines and singing it, trying to sound like, whatever that person that commissioned me wants to sound like. So that's another one that I won't name, but, if you were to Google it, you could probably find it. And then, back to Sub Project 54 before we go on to Bringer of Light. Like, I will, total transparency, I've never been like a huge fan of thrash metal. Like, it's not my go-to. If it's a really good thrash record or band, like, I'll listen to it. But I've never been like, oh yeah, thrash, let's go. Man, when I heard these tracks that you put together, dude, I was blown away. I was like, fuck yeah, man, you guys got lyrics, or am I writing them? What's up? Let's go. And I love how it turned out. Like, I've played it. My wife is tired of hearing it from my studio, which is also my office where I work, my day job. But it's so good, man. And even if I had nothing to do with it, I would be like, you guys are fucking awesome. How do I see a show? How do I buy a thing? And I think I already own like 3 or 4 Spondai shirts. You've created so many that are like just super cool to look at, let alone if I were a gamer. I mean, I'm a gamer, but if I were like a hardcore gamer, I'd buy it. If I were hardcore into thrash, I'm like, this is my favorite band, I'd buy it. I just think they're really cool to look at, and I love being involved with it. So
thank you.
Thank you on many levels for including me, for writing such cool stuff, for writing such fun and funny stuff, and for creating some really cool imagery on these shirts. And for those of you that haven't seen it, like, it is really cool shit. It's all this creative genius over here.
And it's just one of those things that, like, initially I was like, am I ready to collaborate with people again? Because, like, one of the like good things about like becoming a single like a solo artist again is like you have 100% control of everything. You don't have to answer to anybody. So I did that for 3 singles over 2 years, and it just took a while, but it was exactly what I wanted. But then this time around, I'm bouncing ideas of people, and I'm being told no, and it's like, fuck you, mean no, man. Right? I'm like, what do you mean no? Like. So that part was it brought me back, and it's like, what, I kind of miss it. I kind of miss that camaraderie of having to like meet halfway and saying, what, okay, so we're gonna do this for the squad.
For the squad.
Meet halfway. We're gonna meet halfway. Yeah, we're gonna meet halfway, and we're gonna do that. And the same thing with the shirts. Like, you remember, it's like, oh, you got to do monochrome. It's like, no, I want color. Oh, monochrome, color, monochrome, color. The first one that sells, monochrome. And I'm like, shit.
We all know we definitely have one hard head that is harder than all the others in this project. We know that.
Yeah, that's usually the case. But
so we'll end up with 2 shirts on that design.
Yep. And then, so that was Sub Project, Spondai, and then so Bringer of Light.
Yeah, man. So for a long time, I've also been like, okay, with Halfway to Adonis, I'm not really venturing into like the death metal category. It's not quite that heavy. It could be, but the majority of that music is not quite as heavy or aggressive. The lyrical content is like, borderline, but it's not about like death and gore and having fun with those really dark topics. So there is some like MFers and like some stuff that you'd probably hear on the heavier end of heavy rock radio, with a couple of bleeps here and there. And again, that's like my baby. I'll venture out and pull in another vocalist or something, or someone to play a lead from time to time. But I love deathcore. Like probably 4 or 5 bands in particular. Thy Art Is Murder, probably my favorite. I've seen Carnifex live a bunch of times. I really like them. Fucking Acacia Strain, I really like. And there's like the names escape me sometimes. because I'll listen to it and I don't always like look at it. But man, there's one other really really good one. Born of Osiris is fucking awesome. There's it's gonna come to me in like 5 minutes. Like I can't. It's like my favorite. It's like
Black Dahlia.
Nah, I mean, I don't really care for
consider
it.
Black Dahlia?
I can't hang with Black Dahlia, dude.
Yeah, I mean that singing in Black Dahlia is like
it loses me.
It definitely doesn't like your
and
style.
I've seen those guys live a bunch of times, and I'm like,
they are pretty.
I can't get into it.
Crazy live.
Yeah. Fortunately,
they put on a good live show.
Side note: I have a Kemper profiling amp. I've had it for years, and I have had one or two hookups into some major studios. So I actually have several of the profiles that they've used on their albums. So whatever, that's a plus for me. If that makes me a rock star, sweet, I'll take it. I have one that no one is supposed to know about. Colin Richardson did a profile for Matt Heffy of Trivium, and I have that. I'm not supposed to, but I'm letting the cat out of the bag 5 years later.
Exclusive. Nobody else has this.
No, only like 4 people have
okay?
it.
You ought to know. Exclusive.
Yeah. we talked about it's an exclusive. We talked about it here first. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of like how I got into Bringer of Light, and I like somewhat the controversial name. Like I heard this term years ago, Bringer of Light, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Like Bringer of Truth, Bringer of Light, truth speaker, truth sayer. And then after I'd already decided like one day I'm going to use this somewhere, someone shared with me like, hey, that's like a religious or a pseudo biblical, biblical or pseudo religious. You might want to think about that. And I was like, wait, what? And they told me like, yeah, depending on your interpretation and what version of the Bible you're reading, that could either be really good or really bad. And I was like, oh,
that's even better.
That more interesting. Yeah. Like I definitely don't want to offend anyone, and certainly, don't, I don't want to piss anyone off or give any hard feelings, but I was like, shit, that's even more cool. And I had I'd already had like probably 8-9 years ago, I had like a general idea of what a logo would look like and what it would incorporate. And I was just like, like bearer of truth, or, there's like a light that everyone sees and follows. And I was just like, that whole concept is cool. I'm going to use it. And recently I've been like writing a riff or two here and there. And I'm like, that's really like some cool, like deathcore-ish, give or take, that's got some cool shit. And I was like, for a lot of these heavier things I write like that get more aggressive, I don't necessarily have lyrics. Like I have little spots where I have some good ideas for like a vocal pattern, a flow, or a lyric, but I'm like, too many of these riffs are stacking up. I should probably involve some other people. So I reached out to this dude that I had met earlier when I was actually thinking about auditioning right as COVID started, auditioning for some deathcore projects as a guitarist, because I miss getting on stage and just fucking playing the guitar, not worrying about a mic. And that's how it started. I auditioned for a band right as COVID started. And to be honest, I don't think I ever got a yes or a no from them. I think they broke up before they actually told me I was in or not, but it was really good. And I was like, damn, I missed this. And a few months later, I was like, well, let me just start recruiting people on my own. So the next band I talked to had this dude, a vocalist. He was a guitarist turned vocalist. His name is Mike O.B. is what he goes by online. And I was just like, dude, your vocals sound good. I know you can play guitar. Do you want to split? Like, I have some stuff written, maybe not a ton, but you want to split some duties and maybe like do more of the vocals than me, like most of the vocals and lyrics. And here's kind of like the bands I like and generally what I'm going for. And he was like, yeah, man, this guy likes to stay busy like me. He's in a bunch of different projects. So we did a cover of this electronic artist that happens to be from Texas also, Mr. Kitty. I was just like, I effing love this song called From Liquid. I can't get it out of my head. Like when I'm doing my day job, my corporate America stuff, I have like Pandora or Spotify or whatever on rotation, and this song comes up and I just stop every time and I love it. And so I just was like toying around with riffs. I'm like, okay, it's pretty cool. Let me see if someone will do some stuff with me. And then there's another guy that wishes to not be named. I can say he was kind of a big deal in the Orlando metal scene for years. Won some awards, if you will. Wink, wink. Played some shows with Ring of Stars. I'm probably narrowing it down too much for him to be comfortable. I hope not.
I kind of have an idea.
This person relocated, no longer a part of that metal scene, but a part of other metal scenes that I've kind of dabbled in here and there. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey, buddy, dude's getting great at producing now, probably better than I am, last I heard. And I was like, would you be interested in like the drum parts for this little project? Because like, sure, I can program them, but I've not sat on a drum set for more than like 20 minutes at any point in my life ever. So I'm not really a drummer, nor can I keep time. Um, and I don't want it to be like my flavor of programming drums. I want someone that's really good and loves that kind of music. So he was like, "Yeah, man, don't name me. I want to do my own music thing, and it's coming soon, and that's got to be like my big deal. But yeah, I can quickly put down some drums anytime you have a track." So we're working on this stuff. When we get the first song done from Liquid, which you can find on Spotify or other platforms under Bringer of Light, and Mike Ob and I kind of split vocals, and I do all the guitars and bass. Most of the sound effects, keyboards, all that shit, and kind of leave the most of the vocals and the lyrics up to him. I give a little direction and let him take it from there. Kind of like my part that I play in Alpheus, he plays for my project, Bringer of Light. So we put that one cover out just to get everything online and like establish generally what our sound is and our direction. And I also thought like Bondi actually inspired this. I don't know if I've ever told you this, dude, but I was like, hey, I really like this idea of like a concept, and I love the show Dexter, but I've not been in a project where like writing about that type of thing would fit 100%. I'm like, well, fuck it, this will. Maybe each album can be like a concept on some different, pseudo social thing that I like a TV show or a whatever, a movie or something. Or so we're right now probably 2.5 songs into what I think will be like a 4-song, 5-song EP, all centered around the show Dexter. It's called I think we're gonna call it Dexter Morgan and the Code of Harry. And I have this I'm not giving any room to talk here, dude. I'm sorry, I'm just blabbing. I'll stop in a second.
No, that's fine, dude. This is great.
We have this kid, this Australian kid. He just turned 16. He's on the autism spectrum, and he's an artist. And I saw his stuff. I actually thought he lived in my neighborhood through some online forum that someone mentioned him. And I was like, dude, this would be amazing. Like, can we talk about, he draws monsters. And I was like, can we talk about like maybe some album art? And his mom answered me in a text, and like some of the words she used, the language she used, I was like, I don't think they're actually Texan. Let me check. Turns out this kid's in Australia, and his mom is helping him so that like, he can make this a job. He can make this his income, making art. So I'm like, dude, awesome. Can you draw some custom stuff for us? And he's very collaborative. We're going back and forth right now. He goes by Snoopy Boy online, and I'll share some of that soon from my profile, from some of the band profiles. But this dude is created like for our first EP, which again I think it'll be called Dexter Morgan and the Code of Harry. He's creating like these monsters custom for us that are like, his view of what Dexter is, and then standing behind him is like this dark passenger, whatever he imagines that to be, holding a knife and kind of like telling the Dexter monster what to do. And there's like a blood splatter, and that's the cover. And I was just like blown away at this kid's work and his collaborative efforts. So we're really I'm just doing a lot of like fun experimental shit on this project, and it's cool. It's fun.
That is crazy, dude. That's awesome. And see, the thing with this one, with Bringer of Light, was this. I remember you sent me the information, and I'm writing it down, and I got stuck on Mr. Kitty. I was like, what? I'm being honest. I am somebody that I take pride on like listening to like a lot of stuff. You met my wife. Like, she listens to Barry Manilow, like Neil Diamond. Like, she listens to old music. She listens to new music. So it's like I take pride on knowing a lot of stuff. I never heard Mr. Kitty. I was like, what? So before I heard your song, I actually went and heard his. And I hear it as like, there's no fucking way. There's no way. There's no way that he turned this into a metal song. There's no way. Like that was my reaction. There's no way. And then 10 seconds into the song, I'm like, oh, okay, so he did. And he did it well. So man, thanks, kudos for that. That was insane. And man, this has been so awesome. Oh, so here's the birthday boy, huh?
This is the birthday boy. But we'll come right back to what you're saying in a second. I think he was out of the door calling for dad or dad. He heard me talking here. So this Mr. Ronan today happened to be his first birthday. And I know you reached out and said, hey, man, do you want to reschedule? I didn't realize. And no, we were planning on this today. And I thought, hey, maybe we'll get like 4 more likes if we...
Hey, survey says
Yeah, if you
videos
bring
with babies.
a baby onto a video and it's their birthday,
Yeah.
here we go. Let's celebrate a little bit. My wife just handed me my celebration glasses.
Woo!
So, hey, you want to say hi, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
If you
How
wave
you
to him,
doing,
he might wave.
Ronan?
Oh, I think I distracted
No,
him.
I think he
Yeah.
wants the sunglasses.
Okay.
There you go.
So today is
Hey.
this little guy's first birthday. We had a big celebratory day, and then he's got a little party this weekend with a couple of friends and parents that have been COVID safe, because with a baby, that's the thing we think about. And yeah, I think all day we've been planning on this interview, and we thought, you know what, if he gets cranky and wants to see daddy for a minute, we'll bring him in and put him on the video, and hey, maybe your viral value blows up because you have a baby in a video now. You know, who knows?
Exactly.
Definitely won't have anything to do with the metal. It'll be the baby, not the metal.
We need to share the growling videos of him.
We should attach it. Let me see if I can get him to do this. So side note, on Sub Project 54, Tony Streetman and I are working on a Megadeth cover. Uh-oh, buddy. You broke my glasses. We're working on Symphony of Destruction. And I've never done Megadeth, and it was one of these things where he's like, hey, man, can you do Dave? Like, I don't know, man. That's a little tough. Let me try it. So far, the chorus sounds a lot like Dave. The verses I got to work on a little. But I let my wife and Ronan here came in the room last night to just do a test listen. And as you know, like the second little, Dave has these growls at the beginning. They're kind of staggered throughout. Before the first chorus even, so like two little vocal parts in, little man here goes, rah, rah. And we just got such a kick out of it. And during the chorus, he started doing this. I don't know if you can hear him. He started doing the la 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 la. But let's see if we can get some metal. Can you hear him through these headphones?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, buddy. Oh, I'll tell you what he's looking at right now. My studio computer is running and it looks fun. So that's what he's looking at.
He sees all the lights.
He sees the fun stuff. But let's give this a shot.
Hey, don't break those lights, please.
Yeah. Hey, bud. Do it. Yeah, buddy. One more. Yeah. And then sometimes his mom and I will harmonize and we can get him to sing with us. Let's try this one. Ronan. Now he hears the dog right now and he's distracted. Let's try it one more time. Ronan. There it is. Yes,
Awesome.
What a good boy. Happy birthday, Bubba.
We got to get him a guest spot in the next Spondi album.
I love it. We should do that. So,
bye, Janae.
He says bye, Janae. She can't hear you.
Hi. Oh, that's right, because you have the headphones.
Yeah.
I'm a dumbass.
She says bye, though. Another project I was involved in, I know this is like, 7 now? So I have to follow up, and maybe I can share a link once.
Dude, I can't keep up with how many projects you're involved in. I feel like every week it's like, hey, man, I'm going to release this song. It's like, oh, is it with this? No, it's something new. It's like, oh.
Yeah, I like to think I'm creative, but I think it's more of like, I can't remember all of them, and I'm like, oh, idea, let me go do this. Someone online. So
you just can't remember the name, so you just come up with a new one.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I'm like, shit, I don't know that name or login. Let me just do something different.
Yeah.
There was this company. A few people were like posting in forums. They were doing a movie, like a low budget movie, like a horror thing, and they wanted zombie voiceovers. And he was like 60 days old. I don't know, between 2 months and like 4 months. And he was doing sounds like that. And I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll do that. I'll have some fun. So I did some growls and some screams and some gurgles. And I brought him in here, and he was copying me and doing all these things. And I sent it to them. I'm like, I don't know if this may not be what you're looking for. And they're like, oh, my God, that's exactly what we're looking for. Thank you so much. So they got like baby zombie Ronan on there. I don't even know what that movie is called or if it's done. I gotta check that out. But that was cool. That was fun, especially to hear back that they loved it. It wasn't just me being stupid.
That's awesome. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it was fun.
Listen, man, this has been like the greatest interview I've done so far. This has been because I feel like I interviewed 7 bands at the same time. This has been awesome. Like real quick, like I know the answer, but for everybody that is catching up, where can they find all of this music?
Yeah, so I think all of this, definitely, if you're on Facebook, like you'll find a profile for every one of these, and you'll find videos, lyric videos. If it's not a YouTube video posted on Facebook, it's at minimum an old school Facebook video. I think I even have like demos out there that I've never even published through like Spotify or whatever, like old shit. So all of them have that at a minimum. A lot of them, most of them are on all the platforms. And I know Spotify is like the big deal right now, but look on YouTube, you'll find it there. I think The Wrong Way, my reggae project, has been the one kind of on the back burner the longest. I think about 2 years ago is the last time I released anything, and those were Facebook videos. But I plan on converting a lot of that and putting it through, most of the platforms, including Spotify and YouTube soon. And I'll have a few new tracks from that one. But everything else, YouTube, Spotify, I don't think it's so hard to get stuff on Pandora these days. I don't know how much is there.
I don't even know how Pandora works, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't even know how it works.
Well, I'll tell you, back in the day, Ring of Scars there's a bunch of stuff on Pandora and Last FM, but it seems like now, even when like your distribution companies, like DistroKid, submit, that stuff doesn't hit Pandora any longer. I don't think. They say they submit to it, but I don't think it's there. But like Tonal and Deezer and all those others, TikTok is there. Oh, let me plug that. So if you look on TikTok for One Bad Dude, if you have any kind of video, like the T video, someone getting their ass kicked, you kicking someone's ass, you trying to be a badass, you being a badass, look for One Bad Dude. That would help me out a lot, and it will be awesome for your video.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
It would fit perfectly. Or even martial arts, like, I don't know, you're getting your butt kicked or you're kicking butt at a video game, like put it in there, One Bad Dude. My dad is actually on that. There's a short version of the story. My dad, who I love and respect, when I was a kid, he would say like, "Oh, that's One Bad Dude," for like, someone that was a badass. I think the movie Billy Jack was like his timeline, but he showed it to me when I was a little younger. He was like, "Yeah, this guy's one bad dude." Neo from The Matrix, that would be like one bad dude. John Wick is also one bad dude. So there's some kid messing with my sister on the bus when we were in like elementary school. And I was like, "Dude, you either come to my house or I'm coming to yours. I'm going to beat your ass. You don't mess with my sister." And so this kid called everyone in the neighborhood, got them to come over to my house, including one of my cousins. And, my parents, I was watching my sisters. My parents had just showed up, and my dad was like, "Well, you know what you got to do." And so I went out in the street, and this kid swung at me once, and I got lucky. Like, I'm not saying I'm a great fighter or was then, but I beat his ass. And then when my dad yelled at me, all right, get off him. And so I stood up. He was still breathing. He was bruised up and a little bloody. I got off him. We were on Shell Rock Street, and I was like smashing his face in the ground. So my dad was like, "Stop, dude, stop." And I got up, and the kid tried to kick me when I got up, and he was talking shit. And my dad was like, "Go inside." So I go inside, and he's like, "Hey, you want some more of this, or you want some more of him, boy?" And the kid's like, no, sir. No, I'm done. And I remember my dad, he made some one bad dude comment later or maybe right before. I don't remember. But
that's the intro line? Like you don't want to mess with him.
Yeah, that's my dad. Well, actually, so the intro is me emulating my dad. And then the end of it is my dad that actually left me the voicemail about One Bad Dude, and I kind of clipped it out and I put it there, So
nice.
that it was my first release as Halfway to Adonis, the first song that's the one that kind of pushed me over the edge and said, like, you got something good here, you should do something with it. So that's it. So you can find that on TikTok. You can, now that you know the story, apply it wherever it is. Shoot me a note. I would love to hear it. I don't even have a TikTok account, but like I think my wife does. And if we ever see One Bad Dude, like, we'll know. Like, send it to me on Facebook. Send me a link. So yeah, those are all the places you can find it. I was going to plug something else and I totally forgot. Oh, Spawn Die. We have a bunch of shit it's all about gaming, mostly like your first person shooter, Call of Duty stuff. It's hilarious. Find it. I mean, it's badass.
We're also on TikTok.
There's fun. Yeah, that's what I was going for. It's on TikTok. Like, this gun sucks. If you've ever played a game and you're like, this fucking gun, fuck it sucks. This song is for you. You can find a lyric video, in-depth lyric video, might I add.
Yes. Every single word is in there.
Yeah, every word is in there. It's good stuff. There's a lot of words. That's the joke. But you should find that on YouTube. The video is just hilarious watching it, in my opinion. But it's also on TikTok, as are all of our other songs that completely apply to any game where you pick up a gun and try to shoot people. You got to hear it and goof off with it on TikTok if you do that kind of thing. Javier, I hope you don't mind terribly. I'm going to plug one other thing. So in my insulated, this is a Star Wars cup here, so everything tastes a little more Star Warsy. But what I have in here is a couple types of vodka blended together, and my favorite vodka, which also happens to be about 20 minutes from my home, Western Sun. These guys make some amazing vodka, blueberry in sweet tea, because we're both in the South, or you will be soon. I'm in the South. Sweet tea with anything in it is the Southern
technically
thing.
I am in the South. Actually,
are you?
Because
yeah,
we
Virginia,
are,
right? Yeah,
we
yeah.
are south of the Mason-Dixon. I didn't know that until
right.
we drove up, and then we drove past the Mason-Dixon line. It's like, oh, so we were in the South.
Just a couple Southern dudes here talking about metal and drinking. So I have some blueberry and lemon vodka, which is the best flavored vodka you're ever going to have, mixed in with some sweet tea, and it blows me away. I'm plugging this because you should check it out. You can get it in like 48 states. It's amazing. Vinny runs this place, Western Sun Distillery, like 20, 30 minutes from my house. And I shit you not, I become friends with this dude on Facebook. In real life, we'll high five. I got a shirt with his actual face on it. Like, I love Western Sun, man. Every time outside of COVID times, since we've lived in Texas, anytime someone visits, we drive them there immediately. Like, Saturday, we're going. Sunday, we're taking a tour. We're getting shit-faced. They're amazing. Vinny, if you watch this, if you're hearing this, dude, I got 7 freaking bands. I know you run music venues, a venue, I should say. If there's anything I could ever do to like actually become a endorsed artist, just let me know, dude, because I'm selling your shit all the time, and I'm drinking more of it than I'm selling. But Western Sun, you'll love it. If you can find this shit, it is the best. It is so good. There's a watermelon for summer. Anyway, that's how much I love this stuff. I am so about it. A watermelon mule, you blow your socks off. It's great. And I'm under the influence of it right now for this whole meeting, under the influence of Western Sun. So I think I plugged all 19 and a half of my bands.
I think so. We missed probably like the last 20, but
there could be several more out there that I just forgot about, like illegitimate children. When you're holding a guitar,
I'm pretty sure by the time the interview comes out, like you're gonna have like 5 more bands anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'll have to do that. I have to pay for my next DistroKid fee before.
Yeah, right.
By then,
somebody has to pay for it.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, hey, listen, Brad, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been, like I'm saying, this has been like the most different, most awesome interview I've done so far. Because, like I said, I feel like I'm talking to like so many bands at the same time, but it's all connected to just one bad dude, which is you, dude. Man, you're amazing. Like, love the fact that I can call you my friend and that we can do music together. And I hope that never changes, man, because it's awesome. It's awesome being able to work with you, and it's awesome to, like I said, it's awesome to be able to call you my friend. And man, you know what? Next Tuesday, right? Tuesday nights.
Oh yeah, my wife will take care of kiddo on Tuesday nights, and cool. I can play games most of the time. Yeah. Cool.
So make sure you update the game beforehand so that
Jesus Christ,
we can get on the rotation right away. Okay.
Every time. I will do that, sir. I will do that.
All right,
for sure.
Cool. Anyways, there you have it, people. Halfway to Adonis, or Bringer of Light, or Spondi, or Project 54, or whichever of the 57 different bands that he is a part of right now. Brad, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. A little fist bump. Kapow. Good catching up with you, man.
All right. Have a good one.
Take care.